Thank you for honoring us. It's always an honor as a brand to have members of the media, to have our extended family, especially Jessica Lunyaka. So thank you guys so much for that. Carling Black Label has been on this journey, as you've said, for so long. You know, from 2017, we saw Uguti the spike in GBV, or at least, you know, mainstream. We're now starting to see that. And you alluded to the fact that people were using alcohol as an excuse for abuse. And so as a brand, we're acutely aware of the link of men that abuse alcohol and sometimes abuse their wives, which meant that we couldn't just stand by and do nothing, you know, but acknowledge, you know, the role and try and understand, but also actively be part of that solution. And so I know we were all here at the Carling Cup game. You know, last year we had Carling Knockout, this beautiful property that we have for over a decade. We've been dedicated to South African football for so long, and I think no one can think of a brand, you know, that's so synonymous with South African football. And so we saw Uguti, let's use a mega platform, something that is just so powerful that the brand plays in, and we all know that we beat to the beat of soccer. You know, this weekend we have the derby, so it really is part of South African culture, and I think we have a huge audience, and so we can use this platform, or we can use soccer as an influence for good, to be able to say to all of our consumers, to all of our fans, that the real injuries actually happen off the field. And if anyone just remembers last year at the Carling Cup, we had this beautiful activation, you know, where we hijacked this moment at injury time to really highlight, Uguti, in our communities, some of those victims don't get that additional time, you know, because the issue is just so great in South Africa. So really this year we're saying that the real injuries, they happen off the field, and every single person in this room, every single person in South Africa has a role to play to be able to end gender-based violence. And so with that, I just want us to look at a very beautiful piece of work that introduces all of our new brand ambassadors, as well as just our partnership with the PSL. You guys can play it.
Voor mij, een kampioen op het veld is ook een kampioen in zijn gemeenschap.
Amadoda amompetha enza umhlaba ube ngcono.
A champion man reaches out before he lashes out. Amadoda angompetha athi phansi ngodlame kubantu besifazane.
Bakithi, the real injuries happen off the field.
Win or lose, there is no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There is no excuse for gender-based violence.
The real injury time stops now.
Majida, let's be champion men in our society.
Let's use our strength for good.
To love and protect Organja and Mafut.
Join our team of champion men.
And let's be champions for our women.
Oh, what an incredible video. That coach really pushes that message of no excuse. And Unonjabulo speaks about the role and influence of football. You have played, you've coached at different levels. Is that what you see, the role and the influence of football, and using that to send this message against gender-based violence?
Yes. Thank you very much, Put Clement, and thank you, Sis Nonjabulo, and the members of the media and everybody else present this morning. The clip he just played it goes beyond the logic, it touches the emotion. It will resonate with you emotionally when you've been through these experiences. And I think more often than not, we do campaigns as a form of maybe selling numbers, as a form of marketing, but I think we should start doing these discussions or these campaigns as sort of real, honest, genuine discussions. Then the understanding will be better. And when we understand better, in my opinion, I think then we can always go out to influence, impact, or involve in a more genuine manner. And I will tell you why, Grootman. I think all of the people in this house, myself included, it be today, yesterday, 3 days ago, or a week, surely, must have been in touch with some sort of an uncomfortable situation. It's a reality. And even here, some of us who, as they left home, there's issues that are thorny. Others are looking at the phone, is getting a message, yeah, you left, and this was not done. Or others are anxious that after this gathering, after 2 hours of this, they have to go and account. It is a reality. But we always avoid having these discussions. In my opinion, as a sports person and a coach, I've had these experiences at first hand. When a player comes to the training ground under influence of whatever substance, I don't look at the player and say, but why do you come not orderly or drunk, whatever? I say to him, where do you come from? This player comes from a community, from a society, which is what Benny McCarthy says up here. The fact that this player, this gentleman, this man comes from a society and he is in the state, it simply means that society is in that state. When there was a political agenda in South Africa, they said to you there was no way there could be a normal sport in an abnormal society. So sport was a more of a reflection, microscopic reflection of society. So why relevant in politics and not in real life? It is still relevant even in real life. What you see, I'm going to make a quick example so that I get off the podium. What you see in sports is what is in society. Let me start an example, foot. I remember on the bridge in Johannesburg, there were ladies who were singing a song for the former president. Hashtag must fall, hashtag must fall, hashtag must fall. I want us to have a conversation and be realistic. But if you look back and say, okay, they are singing this song, where does it come from? Oh, it comes from a campaign on hashtag fees must fall. Then they go on and escalate it into politics, hashtag this one must fall. My first-hand experience was in Durban. Then they say hashtag Steve must fall. When you correlate the day we live a life in separation of the realities of our industries, we're gonna go wrong. You must always find a way to link them because they are relevant, they are intertwined. What happens in society, I anticipate in football. And what happens in football is a reflection of society. So when they scream at me, they say hashtag Steve must go. Hashtag Steve must go. It came from hashtag fees must fall. Hashtag Steve must fall. So society has given a message to sports. Now it is a responsibility of sports then to inform society in a manner that says, I want to correct that. Which is where we at. When we're dealing with people who come from environments that are not as privileged, where there was abuse and all that. In 2014, I gave a speech in Maritzburg with some business forum. In 2014, NBC was charging $3 million for a 30-second advert, I think, on the Super Bowl. Now, I'm saying, you got billboards in players. You got billboards in Njabule and all these folks who are known, who can pass on a message with regards to, can we correct the situations? Yes, we can. So one of the reasons I personally feel the campaign and being with No Excuse campaign is such beneficial, not only at a personal level for myself, because I cannot imagine a Steve Komphela, an ambassador, and working in campaign for no abuse, and then he becomes abusive. Yeah. So the first point of call is that it puts me to order. I love this because it aligns me, it says to me, be conscious. You cannot represent this and act untowards, be the opposite thereof. It molds and shapes me. It helps me become a better man and stay in line with that. I am a role model. I can impact, I can influence, I can involve in a way that needs to correct this. So that's why I'm part of and I'm passionate about it, because it is there in me, and I would love to see more of us men taking the responsibility in the realities of life. It is not easy. And worse with the challenges that we see in modern life, it is extremely difficult. Only through awareness, deliberate, intentional, and conscious observation, we shall overcome. But only that can be highlighted by where we act. Because if you don't have these, we don't talk about them, and the level of awareness, alertness, or consciousness then gets numb. So we need to be made aware. And I'm part of it because I'm passionate, and I think it benefits everybody, not me as a coach, society, people who look at me, who critique me, who are curious about me, who follow me, who love me, also players. So this is massive in my opinion.
And I love how you mention awareness, because when you look at Culling Black Label, Nonjabulo, you guys have been actually deliberate and intentional about not just doing the ads, but they're quite meaningful. And you have actually had campaigns throughout the year since you launched even this movement. Just take us through some of the campaigns that you have been involved in throughout.
100%. And I think, Coach Steve, there couldn't have been anyone who would put it better. And really no excuses about a personal commitment. When we started it, it was a campaign. Obviously, we know globally we reserve 16 days for this issue. But because it's such a big epidemic in South Africa, and from some of our research, we found that, in fact, every 63 seconds, a woman is a victim of some form of abuse in South Africa, which is a crazy statistic. And so we started off to really, be with everybody and collaborate with all the incredible organizations that have been working in this space, right, to support victims, to get the message out there and drive education. Because I think namanje, it's not clear ukuthi kahle kahle iyini abuse in all of our communities. I think sometimes we think ezinye izinto are okay, but they are in fact part of Leo journey to abuse. And so we found that education and awareness is so important, but you can't just stop there because it's an enduring commitment. And so after we did campaigns to really try and educate abantu baseningizimu Africa, also developing material in the different languages and understanding ukuthi ama nuances, amanye ama communities, because it's not black and white. The issue of abuse is not black and white, and it goes very deep into ama beliefs and the way in which kind of people are raised. So we understood that okay, there's another intervention point that we have to make, and I think into that highlighted this was COVID. In COVID, ziningi izinto that stood still in our lives, everybody's lives, and everybody was affected. But I don't think we understand what that did to also the issue of interpersonal violence. The numbers, surged in a way that was just terrible. And so that's when we developed our WhatsApp line. And so we partnered with our counselors, which is Lifeline, to then have this 0800 150 150 line. And we found an insight. It's easy to say to somebody, reach out. But it's difficult if isimo or the situation you're in doesn't actually allow you to do that. And so we found the channel of WhatsApp to be a very kind of critical channel where you can have a silent conversation, to be able to reach out. Not only did we see that, we have to support victims to be able to get counseling and be able to maybe report some situations of abuse, we found that men as well needed somebody to talk to. They needed a brother, they needed a mentor. And so I think with this WhatsApp line, and we call it Brave, and I just want to quickly tell you the story around that, because we believe the bravest thing you can do is to reach out.
Yes.
The bravest thing you can do is to reach out before you lash out. And so it starts with that self-reflection to say, actually, I'm in a situation, but I can make the champion choice and reach out. So this is our WhatsApp line that we've created from about 2020, 2021 in partnership with Lifeline, and Father in Nation and some of our other partners. We've gotten SPA and other organizations now to come on board. But essentially, whether you are a potential perpetrator, whether you're a victim, or you are a bystander and you are fearful for either a potential perpetrator or a potential victim, you can WhatsApp Brave to this line and you can get somebody to talk to and get help. And so I think that is just, one of the illustrations of how we believe that it's not just a campaign but a movement. And also moving out of 16 days. We're obviously not in 16 days now. And so we believe, there are 365 days of no excuse. And that's why aligning ourselves with the Premier Soccer League is so important, because we have games all the time. We have multiple opportunities to keep the message going. We have amazing partners in our broadcasters. And now we're inviting all of you in the room to join that circle, to say with your publications, with your reach, even within your communities, right, as really important people, because where do we find our news? Where do we shape our stories? And that's with the media. Uguti nani to join the champion team and become champions for change today. And so really that's what we're here to do. One of the other, I think, amazing things, and we're on the journey for that, manje, is developing a six-pack of positive virtues. We know that the six-pack has, negative connotations, particularly when it comes to the abuse of substances. And so we wanted to change that, to say, let's develop a different type of six-pack. This is a six-pack of positive virtues that through our research, we found could be things that if you took men through at any point, they would be able to develop into positive icons of masculinity. And so what we're going to take you through today, and we're going to have a beautiful champion chat with our champions at the back, is what have they learned from some of these virtues and some of these tools. But just very quickly, so we're all on the same page, let's have a look at what these 6 virtues are and what they mean.
So it's a Sepedi expression for a man. It's like a sheep, you cry within, you don't show your tears. So maybe that thing probably affected most of us.
A lot of men don't open up about their emotions because of the say that you've got in South Africa. It's largely used that men don't cry, men are tigers.
It's society that has shaped us this way into thinking that men cannot share their feelings.
How do we drop out of these notions of what masculinity is and start to recognize our humanness?
I believe that art is an important medium to spread awareness about this issue, because scientists have found that it takes the brain 1/7 of a second to decode a visual image.
Growing up, Makarapa was this helmet that soccer fans would wear whenever they go to the stadiums. It shows the vibrance, the culture, and the flair of the beautiful game of soccer.
Most of the time, art is for the white walls in the galleries. So when I see it on the Makarapa, it's amazing.
Well, I agreed to work with Kalim Black Label No Excuse on this project because this sounded like a great opportunity to actually be part of this greater movement. The virtue represented in my piece is, brother, you are not alone.
My piece for the campaign is represented by Brother, You Are Strong.
I was given a virtue, brother, you are man enough.
The virtue that I worked with is, brother, you are needed.
Brother, you can make the world a better place.
Thank you. Appreciate that. These are such incredible virtues, Coach, and I think one, as someone who's been with this campaign for so long, this movement, one of the virtues that are also important is that you mentor the next generation. How important do you think that is for in us pushing and advancing this message against gender-based violence?
My basic understanding of mentorship programs would be for personal development, could also be for professional development. All mentorship programs, somebody would say, Steve, can you be my mentor? I'm looking at, okay, this person is seeking to find a pairing of where we at in terms of experiences. So where you say we wish to pair experiences of those who had more with those who had less, so that we hit the equilibrium. And by so doing, it means you have to have a way to influence this person, try give them all the necessary positive tools that they end up finding a way to survive. And all these virtues talk to that you're not alone. I'll make a very stupid example, I'm sure many of us will relate. In January, I did not have money. And I'm going like, December finished all my money. But who can I go to just to give me 500 rand for petrol? I had nobody. I had nobody. But if you build a community of 3, 4, 5 people where you say, if I don't have, you provide, then we ease one another of any possible strain and stress. And it starts from there. That basic necessity you lack and you have nobody to go to. But here you say you can go to the WhatsApp line, you can go to somebody. If you don't have any support system, possibilities of disaster are high. But if you know that there's a to-go-to guy, then it helps. So when you pair these experiences, it's the same as exchanging whatever form of currency, whether it's an emotional currency, logical currency, physical currency, or literally financial currency. When there's that exchange where you know that if I don't have, I can go to Clement. If it doesn't have, I can also, then it helps. If you don't have that, then you end up alone with your thoughts, frustrations, no exit points. And most of us, we do not have where we can lay out. Find a way to find your sweet spot. I know with myself, when I feel I'm enough, everybody gets enough. You must know your escape. And your escape does not have to be something big that when you are in danger you cannot access. It has to be the simplest and the easiest and the most convenient to access at all given times. If you have that escape, you are in a hell of a great space, nothing will hurt you. My escape to find peace is just to get myself out, maybe get into the car, drive, listen to music. That's the simplest escape. Some of our escapes are actually danger to us. So we need to find a way to say, okay, part to the virtues, a guideline. They always say prevention is better than cure, put Clement in closure. But I think if we can try, have a way to give more, teach more about values. These are virtues. More about values. Have a higher level of respect, have a higher level of humility, have a higher level of responsibility. All these core human values. The minute you can embrace those, they make you a better person. And then we are moving into a space of prevention to abuse than curing abuse. When we are at a stage where we need to cure, it means it is deeper now. It needs medicine. But we should not have gone to that particular disease. We could have been more preventative by having core human values that are strong enough, good education. And in the future investment in that, our kids won't be sitting where we at. Because our kids are going to fire the way they are wired. If we wire our kids in a manner that's not going to help them restrain and have the understanding that not to abuse. You can't be abusive. You have to have a way of relating with yourself, with others. You develop them personally, also professionally. If you can hit that level, then we are out of it. But if we don't wire them in a way that they're going to fire positively, generations are going to perish. And it is our responsibility.
Yeah. And speaking of teaching, Nonjabulo, I mean, we see the WhatsApp, we see the T-shirts, we see the virtues and the program, the Champions for Change, which you'll tell us about in the next few minutes. But all of this is intended to really send a message that's relatable. Talk to us about this next project that you have partnered with the Premier Soccer League on, because I think that also really helps send a message in a way that is relatable.
100%. And I think you guys are hearing it here first, hot off the presses. This year, we are going to be launching a PSL player program that will specifically deal with not only the issue of gender-based violence within the fraternity, from management to fans to players, but also equip them with the skills of how to become good role models. I think a lot of our players go through development. You know, we have Parker, who has an incredible team of young men, and then they go into, you know, the senior teams. They are now on broadcast. Everybody cares about them. But, you know, we did feel through some of our consultation very closely with the PSL that there is something missing, and that through our journey with, you know, Father a Nation, our journey with Lifeline, our journey developing material to really shape kind of the next generation of men, this is something we can also put on the table for our enduring commitment. And so what this program entails is multiple modules where we will be unpacking what it means to be a champion on and off the field, which is so important. We've brought in specialists that deal particularly with sports wellness, sports mental health, to be able to maybe unpack some of the frustrations. And I think some of the legends in the room today will just give us a little bit of a snippet of what is it, you know, are some of the pressures that they face that could make them find themselves in potential situations of risk. And so through this program, we will be rolling it out to all 16 teams in the PSL with their respective sort of staff and management. And today, we will also be taking you guys through some of the Champions for Change course. So it's important for us to understand that yes, we want to use football or soccer as an influence for good, but we cannot leave the fraternity themselves. And so we'll be continuing this journey. We will come back and share with you guys on how it goes. But today, I just wanted to show you guys for the very first time a snippet of some of the content and some of the program that we'll be taking these players through.
Can we just shut up about it?
Bro, feelings don't just go away.
If you get help now, it'll help you in the long.
This happens quite a lot. And as it was going on, Sis Nonjabul, I was going like, but why don't they have a drama series or something? And I'm giving you an idea, but it's all battle for that. have it on some of these channels. I cannot imagine with the following and the love that football players get and the attention. If you have that and then you have Armour player playing those characters and all that, it's quite a difficult thing because these people are at work in the morning and all that. If you could have that and it's a real drama thing, it happens almost like the ones that would happen. Listen, the lessons and the teachings that would come out of there would be immemorable and nobody would forget, because sometimes you could read, you forget, but when you see something it is said by your idol, it sticks, man. So these are some of the things that, apart from the fact that we experience it, could help. Now, what happens with us in sports, and as a coach, players do come, they are human, they come from the very same broken society, and they are possibly likely to be broken players. Because you can never have a complete player from a broken society. They are nothing else but a microscopic reflection of who we are as society. So I don't get shocked when I get a player who's a delinquent at training center. When I know that my society is delinquent as well, I'm not going to exonerate them, they're part of it. So I can't be in denial and say no, but when you have to be clear, though you come from a dusty society. So when that happens, we embrace it. My experiences had been that it is not only a discussion that happens like this, where there's a reprimand and guidance and support from a brother. They come, the silence. Everybody has pride. She can't know about my dirty linen and all that. They leave the training center. They go back to society, get more frustrations, and then they act inappropriately. Then it goes out there to say Steve Komphela abused maybe a partner or whoever. It's because of the pressure. They don't have outlets. They don't have the support. It's always no, it's a shame and all that. We should get rid of that. And if we can manage that, we'll have better players who may come from a broken society, but have potential then to go out and be a positive influence and impact. And if you have maybe 50 players at a particular club who are prepared to be mentors or people who can have positive influence and impact going out, they may impact 50 by 50, and the mushroom goes on. It looks a small number, but a word from a Bernard Parker, a Happy Jele, a Linda Mtambo is so powerful to a young man that when it comes to an ordinary voice even at home. So it is important that their responsibility is much bigger than what they think they are. So we do suffer such, but we know how to deal with it, but it becomes also a primary responsibility that there has to be more.
Yeah. So, Nonjabulit, let's now talk about that Champions for Change course. You've mentioned it a little earlier on, and Utemba will take us through an abridged version of it. But tell us more about the course and what are you intending with it?
No, definitely. So, as I said, and Senkulmanani directly, is that this is a call for everyone in the room, whether you are a potential victim, potential perpetrator, or a bystander, to become part of the solution. So if you all scan this QR code, it takes you to our No Excuse SA website, where we have a condensed version of this course. We run workshops across the country, across the year with various partners, where we go into communities, we prioritize the hotspots of GBV to go and do trainings, we do workshops, and we allow and facilitate men to have what we like to call champion chats, where you can have intergenerational conversations about maybe some of the issues that you might not be able to have in your homes, or you have not yet built this band of brothers. And in this course, we cover three sort of things that are quite important that we think from all the other courses that we have, is that one, we understand what is gender-based violence. It comes in various forms. It's not just physical, it's financial, it's sexual. There are so many different types and forms of GBV. And so that's what we unpack in a way that's easy to understand and to digest. Then we go to some of the reasons through our research and from the people that have gone through our program that they use as core reasons to sort of abuse. And I want to make it very clear here that, an excuse or a reason is not good enough. But as Coach Steve said, it's important, Uguti, we need to understand what are the root causes in order for us to start addressing it so we can change behavior. We don't just want to put a plaster on it as a temporary solution, but how can we actively change behavior so that we can have a society that does not have the issue of gender-based violence. And then the last one is my favorite sort of module or chapter. It's about overcoming abuse. So the responsibility to overcome abuse lies with each and every one of us. everyone has a role to play. And in that module, it unpacks what everybody can do, the ways in which you can spot situations, how potentially you could intervene, how you can support victims, and how you can support people who are potential perpetrators, so that collectively we can all make a difference. And so it's a really, really quick course. It's about 30 minutes. It covers these key topics. We also then have a small sort of test to make sure that everybody understands and comprehends, you know, the different material. And that's what we use to make sure and check and assess that actually it's landing, and we go back and we refresh and we rework. At the end of that, you then get a certificate to say that you are officially part of the Champions for Change. And I want to talk about this jersey very quickly, but I know Linda will as well. But at the back are names of real people, real men who have been part of this journey, who have said abuse will not happen in their places and in their spaces. And once you complete this course, you put your name there so that you can be printed at the back. You can be part of this incredible new generation of men that say, it stops with me, and I will form a band of brothers, and I will influence the spaces that I have to ensure that we have a GBV-free South Africa. So I urge you to go to noexcusesa.com. You can scan the QR code. If you want the course in multiple languages, you can also just come to us. We can let you know where you can find that. We have a variety of languages as well, for everyone to be able to participate and use this tool as something that we can drive in our communities. We've seen the benefits, and today we'll have, you know, some people talking about their experience having gone through the program and what it actually does. So I'm very excited for this next segment, for you guys to get to experience from real life people what a program like this has done for their lives and the people around them.
Yeah, and before we get to that next session where we hear from the champions about how they've been impacted by this program, Coach, what legacy do you believe that this hashtag No Excuse will leave behind, particularly through this PSL player program?
Any legacy must have more to do with human development. Now, at a personal level, before the professional is a person. Before the player, Parker, there's Parker the person. Before the player, Linda Mtambo, there's Ulinda, the son of somebody. And before you could even say Happy Chele the professional, or Happy Chele the person, and somebody's brother, sister, father, and husband. So any of those programs, they have to deal with the development of such at a personal level and a professional level. That to me would be a legacy. And the minute that particular person, because a legacy has to be long lasting. You cannot have a legacy that, it's just legacy is meant to be there forever. No, it means planting a seed that will end up with a forest. And when these men embrace that, then they are likely to have this deep seed that will end up with the young men who are obviously going to be adults later on with the same virtues, with the same values. Then prevention has been achieved. There wouldn't be a need then for cure. So your legacy must seek to achieve more of a long-lasting prevention than very soon to be seeking solutions for cure. So I think programs of this nature should be there to achieve such objectives, in my opinion.
Yes, Coach and Nonjabula, thank you so much for this. There will be an opportunity to, of course, engage with them further after